So I'm really, really thinking about this reaping and sowing and how deep this goes. And I'm starting to think like so many things are like ground for things. So our hearts are like grounds for the truth. Do we accept and believe about Jesus? So even understanding something, do we have ears to hear what the Spirit says? Do we have ears that are almost like a womb or like ground that when it accepts the seed of truth, that it's understood because you have ground to understand? Or you have like a womb. And so when that seed of truth comes in, it has good ground. And so you understand it and you accept it. And then you begin speaking yourself truth. So if you heard truth, you can now speak truth. But some people, they don't have ears to hear truth. So they reject it. And then but they do have ears for lies. So they have ears for lack of a better way of saying it, devil information, something that's not true. So they grab hold of that. They grab a hold of that untruth, and then they begin like producing speech and what have you, because they take it in their ears and then they speak with their mouth. And like they take it in and it begins to grow, and then it's even in their heart. And so out of the mouth, or what's overflowing in the heart, the mouth speaks. So once we get that, like if we have a bad heart, we got bad ears. I'm talking in the spirit. Then we begin to speak with our mouth. So it starts to come out the mouth. And then we're exposed. So if you look at ground and you put in a seed, let's say a flower, and once it comes out and it blooms, or a tree starts to bloom some kind of fruit, now you know, because it's the fruit. So the fruit of, the fruit is our words. And so then when we see things even, and they come into our eyes, which is connected to our brain, and how do we determine it? So when we want to see something evil, we have good ground for evil. So that's why our brains accept seeing evil. And we want that if we have that going on in the mind. And then you do evil because now you're a producer of it. So everything is like a ground or an exposing of what's in the ground. And so what you think, your thoughts are the fruit of whatever you're putting in. So your brain is like the ground, and then the thoughts are like the fruit. So you just have to pray that this is what it means about having eyes to see and ears to hear. Otherwise, you have eyes and ears, but are they for holy things or unholy things? Are they for lies or truth? So a lot of times, the devil tries to get in and mix, because if it's a complete lie, we see it right away. But if it's a mixed lie, there's truth in there, and that's how we can get fooled. So even like our food, they're doing it to us now. They're mixing things. So it's not really an apple. It's a modified apple. And it's not healthy for us. So it's a fake. So it's sort of an apple and it's sort of not. And you can't tell the difference, right? So that's what these mixed truths are. We have to be very careful what we accept. And we have to that's why I have to take every thought captive and really think, what are you producing? You'll know if you've accepted some lies. And we got to be humble, because you know what? We can all fall for the lies that are truth mixed with lies. That's what the devil's been doing since the garden. It's not an out lie, because that's easy to spot. It's truth mixed with lies. See, that's what the Pharisees did. They took some of what God said, and then they added some stuff. And then Jesus was the most mean to them, because that was so evil, because it was making people fall, because it was confusing, because they were saying some things that were right. So we got to look into this. Do you have ears that have fertile ground for the truth, or fertile ground for the lies, or the truth mixed with lies? And you have to be humble, because if you were, oh no, I don't have that. When you have pridefulness, it's showing what's inside. We all can be guilty of that. So just ask God to help you. Is there something you're believing that's truth mixed with lies? He'll give you eyes to see and ears to hear. He will. If you humbly come before him and you really seek him, not just sort of reading your Bible here and there. I mean, you're going to have to seek. If you want deep truth, you got to go deep. Anyway, I thought I'd share that and really think.